Our next speaker is Rene Washington. She's a certified professional coach. And not only is she now doing what she loves, but she's working with people she loves. Women testify to her exquisite coaching skills, her laser intuitiveness, her way of asking soulful questions that get to the clarity and to our own reinvention. Her favorite quote is from Maya Angelou, and it sums up what she believes, which is, "Success is loving life and daring to live it." Welcome all the way from Alabama, Rene Washington.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming from near and far to be with us today. I am the oldest of two girls raised in a military family. How many of you have great recall of your childhood? I'm not one of those people. Fortunately, though, my sister is, and she remembers our childhood for both of us. One memory I do have is of riding around with my dad on a military base, and he told me that the straightest distance between 2 points is a straight line. For some reason, that stuck with me as some kind of life lesson, maybe because it's one that I never really managed to follow that well. And this wasn't done on purpose. I just didn't quite follow that straight and narrow path. But I always loved to hear about people who did. I was jealous, comparing and despairing myself to people who did follow that path that didn't diverge. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, just wasn't me. One of my early regrets was not graduating from college in 4 years. I, for some reason, dropped out in my senior year for reasons that I really can't articulate right now, but probably connected to my feeling this pressure of expectation, of being the oldest, of being the smart one, of not being able to live up to those expectations. And so I dropped out. But I was so ashamed of that for a long time, when family and friends assumed that I had graduated, I never corrected them. I just let them believe that I had. I finally got myself together enough, though, to get a job, leave my hometown, and the only purpose for that job clearly was to get me the heck out of Dodge, because it didn't last long. But through a series of serendipitous events, at the age of 25, I got married. I got a great job with a major health insurance company, and life was wonderful. I lived happily ever after. Not. But for a long time, things did go really well. I finally did get my college degree, and that propelled my career into management positions, travel opportunities, all the components that build a great life. And life was good. So good that I began to feel guilty about it. Don't question your blessings, people. Just enjoy them. Because in my early 40s, the shiggity hit the fan. I had this overwhelming desire to escape my life. I just wanted to disappear. I constantly felt like I was about to jump out of my skin, and I couldn't figure out why. I wanted to leave my marriage and my job. But again, those expectations. The expectation to stick with it, to not quit, to not give up. I was telling my doctor about this during an annual visit, and she just smiled, took a test, came back and told me that I was in full-blown menopause. Hormones. I could blame the hormones. But that didn't quite cover it. I'm a reader, and in researching menopause, what I discovered was this small gem of truth. Menopause doesn't cause drama. What it does is it uncovers what we are suppressing. And for me, what I was suppressing was this. My husband was a good man. We had gotten married 20 years prior to that and had a good life. But we didn't grow together. I actually got married because this was well before cell phones, and he was living at home with his parents, and we were having these nightly landline conversations that irritated his parents. So, miscontrolled that I am, I said, oh, we'll take care of that, just move in with me. But we were good Christians, so we couldn't live together in sin. And I said, now, okay, you can move in, but we have to get married. And that's how I ended up getting married. A year later, we were married. But as I said, life was good. He was a good guy, and things were fine. That controlling dynamic that I had worked for us for a long time, for about 20 years. But then it began to suffocate me. I couldn't do it anymore. But there were a lot of people invested in our staying together. We were considered to be a golden couple. But your body screams what your mind won't receive. We went through counseling, we did all the things that you do to try to stay together, and I made the decision to stay, to not leave my marriage. The day after I made that decision, I went to work and ended up in the nurse's office trying to have a major stroke. I went to the hospital, and they couldn't really tell me why I was in that situation. I didn't have any of the health triggers for stroke. And so when I was laying on that hospital gurney, I knew stress was connected to this. And I knew that I couldn't stay in my marriage. And within a year, I was divorced. And the blowback came. I was the bitch. Some people stopped speaking to me. But I also had support from places that I expected, my sister, the best girlfriends ever, and places I didn't expect, my dad. My emotionally distant father told me that he had known for a long time that I wasn't happy and to do what I needed to do to fix it. Disentangling from marriage, though, can be hell. But it did give me the motivation that I needed to stay in my job. And that motivation lasted for a while, but then job misery returned. I was 2 years away from being able to officially retire from my company. And I was praying mightily to hold out for those 2 years. But all I was getting back was, ain't no way. I couldn't understand it. I was like, gosh, why am I quitting all this stuff? Why do I want to quit? Why can't I just hold on for 2 more years? Just make me okay with it. I'll stay. My fiance, I did meet a new man, at that time told me something that deeply resonated with me. He told me, maybe God is packing your bags for something new. And then in the midst of all of that, another life-shifting event occurred. My mom died. It was totally unexpected, and it changed everything. I looked at life, at time, differently. It got real arbitrary for me. She was a beautiful, healthy, vibrant woman, and she was gone. And the Rolling Stones, who looked like death warmed over, were still here, rocking out. Arbitrary. Life is arbitrary. And so, I realized this. In the 27 years that I had been with my company, they had changed the retirement criteria 3 times. 3 times, moving that target further and further out. And I decided, I get to decide. Why was I letting some external entity decide my exit? I get to decide. Now, I'm not a gambler. I went to talk to my financial planner, asked him if it was okay for me to leave, fully expecting him to say no, but he surprised me and said yes. And I said goodbye. I could no longer live under the standards that other people had set. And I couldn't hide behind my own fears anymore. Being without a job just didn't feel that scary anymore. Anna East Nin said, the risk that it takes to remain tight in a bud becomes more painful than the risk that it takes to blossom. I chose to blossom. I still choose to blossom. I was very grateful for the life that my company provided, and I'll be eternally grateful. But sometimes gratitude can mask complacency and stagnation. I wanted to live a life of freedom. Freedom from constriction, freedom from imposed structure. I wanted to operate in strengths that energize me, not drain me. I wanted to be engaged with people I love, not people I just tolerated. And so I decided that it was time to go, and I left. And taking those prescripted leaps off of the straight path just started me on this incredible journey. I'm running my own coaching business that's growing. I'm living a life that is just getting bigger, meeting amazing people along the way. I am staying open to all of life's twists and turns, not tied to one outcome, but open to what we can call a crooked path. Now, I am a great life coach, if I say so myself. Not because I have all of the answers, but because I know the questions to ask. I recently read an article about risk, and it said that risk is not about that isolating a risk to that one thing. Because if that one thing is different, everything can be different. If I had stayed in college the full time and taken that path, I may not have ended up in a different city at a party where I met my first husband. We may not have gotten married, and my sister may not have met his brother, and they got married. And I may not have had my 2 beautiful nieces. If I hadn't gotten divorced, I may not have ended up at another party, and I promise I'm not a party animal. But I may not have ended up at another party where I met my current husband, who is the true love of my life. So every day, I ask myself a question. I ask myself, how do I want to feel? I ask myself, are my actions aligning with those feelings? Today, I wanted to feel grounded, powerful, connected to these incredible women with whom I'm sharing the stage. I wanted to feel connected to you, and I do. And so I want you to consider, if you're struggling to stay somewhere that is not serving you, consider that there might be somebody out there who's struggling to get to that space you're in. And I leave you with this question. What are you afraid to do that you're not doing? What path are you afraid to choose? Choose the crooked path. Thank you.
I feel extremely motivated to kind of make my life what I want of it, and for that I'm really grateful.
Made me really proud to just hear such powerful women speak their truth and spread that to me and everybody else.
So inspiring in a way that hit different parts of my life. I did not expect it. It completely blew me away.